All right, let's see if I can pull this up. See if this works. All right, looks like we are in business. Boom. All right, so we got a seller finance deal today. So this means that this property is owned free and clear. And this is 8301 West Crest Lane, Austin, Texas, 78724. This is on Zillow. I'll put that up shortly. Fully renovated, so turnkey, 4-bed, 3-bath. $450,000 purchase price, interest rate, amortization period. Okay, so they put it on a 40-year note at 4% interest rate. 5-year balloon, non-negotiable. Principal interest 1734.44. Okay, because they didn't include the taxes and insurance, we're gonna have to get that estimate. Cash close, $35,000 to seller, $13,000 to the assignment. So let's go ahead and look up these details really quick. All right, let's go for it. 13,000. All right, so let's take a quick look at the property. This does look pretty turnkey. Maybe some landscaping will set aside. So for the most part, everything should be ready to go for the most part. All right. So let's see what county this is in. What county is this in? Travis County. So first thing I want to do is just look up the rent ceiling. Now, for a big city like Austin, there might be adjustments. So if this turns out to be close enough of a deal, I might look up the Austin Housing Authority if there is such a thing. But for now, I'm going to look up Travis County. And for this property in zip code 78724, 78724, a 4-bedroom rent ceiling is 2770. Let's note that down. 2770. And I'm knowing that's in my spreadsheet. 78724. 78724. And I'm only going to care about the 4-bedroom. Okay, so next thing I want to do is get the market rent. Now, if you go to affordablehousing.com, you go to the owner section, go to the market rent estimator, plug in the address, plug in bedroom count, click get estimate. The number you care most about here is going to be here on the bottom right. On the bottom right, you're going to see that for 25 units within a 2.14 mile radius, the average rent is $25.65. So let me go ahead and plug these numbers in so you guys can see me plugging them in. 4-bedroom, $25.65, $24.28. The reason I take down all these numbers is because my partners know how I underwrite. So this is the best way for me to do the research for them so that they don't have to go and do it on their own. All right. So for the rest of the underwriting, now that I got the 2770 and I also have the market rent, I'm going to probably underwrite this deal at 2600 because that is the lower of the two when you compare that to the SAFMR. And that's simply the case because of the rent reasonableness test, right? You can't charge more rent for a property simply because they're a voucher holder. So if the market says 25.5, maybe you get 2600 because it's a brand new property. Just don't forget the ceiling includes utilities usually. So you got to subtract it if you don't provide utilities. So I'm using 2600 because all I'm trying to do right now is see whether or not this property is worth my time for additional calculations or for sending a contractor out there to get an inspection. So this property, 4-bed, 3.5 bath, purchase price is $450,000. So $450,000. It includes $35,000 to the seller, a $13,000 assignment fee. I'm going to have a 2% closing cost right here at $9,000. And for my renovations, let's go ahead and take out most of this stuff because usually there's not much renovations on this property. I might just replace, I'm not even going to replace the toilet on. Maybe I'll just replace 2 toilets with high pressure flush toilets because I don't know what they look like. I'm assuming nothing needs to get painted because it's relatively turnkey. I'm set aside $500 for landscaping. And I don't know if I need to set aside any money for the roof, but I'm going to put a little bit aside anyway, just in case they did not replace a roof on this property. And somehow we see some patching that needs to be done. So $3,500, that's pretty much still a turnkey property. Okay. Now, $450,000, $35 rehab, $2,600 of rent based on what we just saw just now. We got to put in the loan details now, okay? The loan details here is going to be, $450,000 purchase price, $35,000 as a seller. So I'm going to assume I'm financing $415,000. And even if that's not the case, then they left it out. That's okay. We can still plug that in separately. I'll show you how just shortly. So if I assume it's $415,000, which equals $450,000 minus the cash to seller, $415,000, 4% interest rate, 40 years, 12 payments a year, balloon in 5 years. So that's how much you owe. $391,721 in 5 years from now. Okay. Now, here's the thing. In order to calculate the property taxes, here's what I'm doing, right? So the PI, according to this, is 1734.44, which is exactly what we have right here. So I'm going to do the property taxes number based off of Redfin on this scenario. If this number was not correct, I would have backed into it just by subtracting 1734.44 minus the seller finance note principal portion minus the seller finance note interest portion, just to kind of back into it. And then I would add in my property tax number, which I'm getting right from Redfin. What's their estimate right here? They're estimating the property tax is 503, and then they're estimating the insurance to be 348. So I'm going to do equals 348. I'm going to times that by 1.2 because most insurance policies that's listed on Redfin is usually for a prime residence policy. I want to be a little bit more conservative, so I'm adding extra 20% premium. Now, what happens when you do that? After you set aside 10% for maintenance, there's no HOA, so I'm going to delete that. 8% for property management, it might even be 10%, and 5% for vacancy, this property would be losing a whopping, assuming your rent is $2,600, and that's the ceiling pretty much. I don't really see it going any higher. Even if you go another $100, you're still negative $653. So negative $653, that would be a negative 13% cash and cash return, assuming your purchase price was $450,000 and your rehab was $3,500 roughly. And this was $35K for the down payment, and your interest rate is 4% in this scenario. So that's how we decide whether or not this is a deal. Hey, good to see you, man. Thanks for coming on to live. So that's how quickly we can decide whether or not the single family home is worth a while for us to, one, send a contractor out there to get us a bid, send a realtor out there, send a handyman out there to take a look at the property. Now, if you know that it's going to lose this much amount of money, then it's probably not worth the amount of effort that you're going to put into it. Now, if you are an investor and you think, hey, Austin's been blown up, maybe it'll continue going up. Well, we cannot really underwrite based on appreciation because that's speculation. So personally, again, this is not investment advice, not soliciting any investments, but this is how I'm going about analyzing this deal because I have to figure out, hey, if I believe this property is going to go up 10% every year, maybe it's going to go up 45 grand. Am I okay losing $650 a month? Right? Because just remember, you might not have maintenance every single month, but this money does not belong to you. Every single month, you have to set aside money because the roof is going to need replacement at some point. We all know a roof is going to probably 10, 15, max 20, 25 years, right? You got to replace it. HVACs, air conditioners go out all the time. Furnaces go out all the time. Water heaters, they go up 7, 10, 15 years maybe, if you're lucky. So all these items, all this money, every single one, it does not belong to you. And that's sometimes really hard for people to understand and grasp and come across because they think that's just cash flow. Cash flow is just rent minus PITI, but that's definitely not the case, right? So in this scenario, that's why we don't believe that this is a deal, and that's why we're not pursuing it. Now, my rents continue going up and up. It's completely personal, but again, not investment advice. I'm simply showing you guys the work I'm doing every single day. And why I'm doing this is that I want to obviously get better at underwriting deals. Hey, exclusive LE, if you want to just DM me your email at investwithkenthe to Instagram, my assistant Pia, she will be able to send you the spreadsheet. I've been given a spreadsheet by other folks, and I just tweaked it, modified it for my own purposes so I can quickly underwrite it really quick, really fast. And again, today, if you have been following any of our lives, you will eventually come up with your own process to decide how you can quickly roll out deals. When I saw that the rent was $2,600 and I saw that everything else was adding up from the PI and the TI to roughly 26.55, just right then and there, I already knew that the PITL was excessive and it was exceeding the gross rents that I'm going to be getting on Section 8. Now, can you go for a midterm rental? Sure, but that's not my passion. That's not my game. But if you do go for that, just make sure you're adding in your furnishing costs, utilities, like all these additional expenses that a lot of people don't think about. Like we own 2 Airbnbs, but people forget things break all the time. Locks have to get reset. You got to send a handyman out there all the time. These are expenses that are real and they happen more frequently than you might think. So here's my goal. I want you all to copy what I did today. You analyze the same deal, same property, using the same spreadsheet, and just put it on your own YouTube channel. And just understand that all it takes is just 18 minutes a day. And you spend 18 minutes a day for 365 days a year. You will be better at analyzing deals than 95% of the country. And that's how we get better. And honestly, if you don't have your first deal yet, that's how you build confidence. When you have a stack of undeniable evidence of your own work, your own efforts, might you feel a bit more confident when the time comes for you to pull the trigger on that deal? If a partner ever asks you, well, hey, why do you think this is a deal? Well, you point them to your own YouTube channel at that point in time. Might they feel a little bit more confident that you know what you're doing? You could be like, hey, I know this is a deal because I looked at 222 other deals and they were all not deals. See, the skill is really learning how to spot a deal. But more importantly, the skill of learning how to spot what's not a deal is even more important. Because if you come up with a process and you can rule out deals really quick, that's how you avoid burnout. If you don't outlast everyone in real estate, that's probably because you burnt out. And how do we burn out? It's when we do a ton of work and we get essentially nothing in return for that time. That's how people burn out. So that's my goal. I want you all to be able to copy what I'm doing, analyze the deals, and most importantly, practice it every single day. So I'll be back here tomorrow for day 223. And thank you so much for tuning into live today. I really appreciate all your time. I can't wait to talk to you all tomorrow and just do this alongside with me. This is how we get better together. Have an amazing day, everybody. And I'll be back here again tomorrow for Friday and hope you all spend some quality time with your family and friends today. That's what life is all about. Have a good one.